I'm happy that you're here, and I will do my best to be helpful on this very, how to say, sexy topic with learning how to learn and how to motivate children to learn, how to work with them to develop their concentration or their focus, or to show some persistence with the efforts that are needed sometimes with learning. So it's a very interesting topic. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emilia, and I work with the topics of empathy, nonviolent communication, parent-child relationship, teacher-children relationship for over 20 years now. And I believe that communicating with empathy with children is one of the, how to say, the biggest, not one, but for me it's the biggest lesson that we can deliver, because empathy actually supports two things. It supports, on one hand, our connection with what is important to us, which comes from acknowledging our feelings. Nonviolent communication, in a nutshell, is the ability to relate our feelings with our needs. So on one hand, it supports the children to be aware of their emotional world and what is important to them. And on the other hand, it is a good way for them to interact and develop relationships based on trust, where they can overcome potential conflicts or misunderstandings with their peers, with their parents, with their teachers, and so on. So I believe that this is really a crucial skill, and yeah, I have devoted a big portion of my professional life to helping teachers and parents in transmitting this skill, because we are raising the future. Working with kids or having kids, we somehow transmit values and skills that will be, what is it? They will live longer than us. The skills that we transmit will live longer.
Life skills.
Life skills, yes. Learning to learn. Why this is important? Perhaps I don't need to say it, but anyway, I will, just that we are on the same page of what I mean and where I base my lecture. There is this term, lifelong learning, and I really believe that this is inevitable. Whether we like it or not, in order to manage well in life, we need to learn how to learn new skills. Some new skills or new knowledge. Life is just organized this way that there is a constant change in life. And in order for us to keep up to date, we just need to learn, regardless of whether this is related with I want to change my career, then I need to learn something new from the beginning, or I go to a new country and then I need to learn how to adapt. Or, I don't know, I discovered that I have never paid attention to my emotional life, and I'm very good with intellectual reasoning and everything, but okay, I need to start from the beginning. What are my emotions, how I can integrate my reasons with my emotions. Or later on in life, we are already 80, and we need to learn how to live alone, because all of a sudden, this is how life developed for us. So the things that kids learn at first grade, because I believe that usually the transition between kindergarten and first grade is based on the difference that up to first grade, they're children, they can learn, but learning is for fun. It is not learning towards a goal. And afterwards, when you already are in first grade, all of a sudden we have a goal. We are learning the letters so that by the end of the year we know the alphabet. Or we are writing every day so that by the end of the trimester you can write your name. And this is how it starts, that learning to learn requires a direction. Yeah? And when the children are growing, naturally this direction is, okay, I'm learning throughout the semester, so that by the end, when the exams come or when the tests come, I can show what I remembered or how I developed. And this is where sometimes the link is broken. I'm learning, I take it as a fun. Sometimes I'm in the mood to learn and then I learn. Sometimes I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'm in the mood to play or to watch TV. I'm not so related with the end goal of what I'm learning. And then eventually the test comes and I cannot show what I know, because perhaps I don't know it, or because I have been distracted, or because I think there are much more important things than showing my knowledge. So one of the important things when we speak about how to support children in this process of learning how to learn is to try to speak about the difference when you learn, because something is very interesting for you. For example, there are these natural gifts in children. I'm very gifted in math, so I can spend a day just with solving math problems. This is great. But life is more complex than our gift, you know. Okay, I'm gifted in this, but in the same time I need also do some sports, because otherwise my body will suffer. Or, okay, I'm very good at math, but I need also to write. Yeah? Even if I become the greatest mathematician, I will still have to write, I don't know, a motivational letter at some point. Yeah? So, okay, we support the children in what they are naturally gifted and where they have this natural interest. They do it because they want it. And in the same time, because we need individuals who feel whole in themselves, we try to support them in the areas where they are not, where they need to learn, not because this is of their interest, but because this is what will be needed later on in life. Here we don't usually, how to say, do well with parenting, or some parents don't do well, because we say, okay, if they are so good with math and they can do it with math so well, instead of showing some empathy, some understanding, some care for the difficulties that they have with something which is not so interesting for them, we just tell them, okay, how can you do this well in math and you cannot do this well in English? Yeah? So we expect them to be able to do it with the same ease as they do it with something which they have this, this is an innate interest. Yeah, it belongs to me somehow, what I'm learning and what I'm studying. My recommendations are, when we see that a child is somehow distracted, cannot focus, cannot concentrate, or has difficulties, or having very low marks, instead of hoping that he will find a way, okay, you can do well in math, so please do what you do in math also with English. Instead of giving them a very quick and perhaps very heartfelt advice. I believe that when we do it with our willingness to be supportive. But this will not work, because if it was possible, the child would have already done it. Yeah? And then we focus on the difficulty. I see that it is difficult for you to study, I don't know, science. Let me see how I can support you, so that things become easier. Maybe they will not become as easy as some of the things that I'm talented but I want to support you so that you're not alone in front of this big difficulty. Sometimes I also work with children. I primarily work with adults, but sometimes through some children of friends and so on, I also work with children. And what they usually say, do you know what the children say usually? When we speak about, okay, I'm having a row of tools in math or in something else, and I try to see what is the situation. Do you know what they say?
Maybe they're stupid.
No? They say that they are alone. No one understands them. Yeah?
Yes.
At least the ones who come to me, this is not a representative number of people, of children, but the ones who come, they say, okay, at school they don't understand how difficult this is for me. They ask me, are you in love? And question that has nothing to do with the difficulty that they have with the specific things that they're learning at the moment. Then at home, usually what do the parents do? They're working with what was the carrot and the stick. If you achieve this, I will buy you this. Or if you don't this, then I stop your screen time for the next month. Yeah, so they feel alone with this big difficulty. All of a sudden I have reached something to learn which is huge. And no one is there with me. We don't want this, yeah? Nor as parents, nor as teachers. So we go and say, okay, I see that this somehow shows it's becoming a problem for you. Let me help you. So that they are not alone in front of this big difficulty. Here the problem is that when kids are growing, we tend to, they're growing and they become more and more independent, which is nice. Yeah? And if they manage in, the more they manage in different areas, the more we expect them to manage all. And sometimes we just, I don't know, if you have 3 kids or 4 kids, all of a sudden they're already bigger, so we have some time for ourselves, and we also need this independence more. So we decided they're independent enough to deal with their problems with learning. And if they were able to deal with their problems with learning alone, they would have. Yeah? At the age of 10, 11, 12, and so on, they also want to feel independent. So if they could have been independent, they would have been independent. Yeah? Let's agree to this. Or at least, don't trust me, explore it with your children. So you go to them and you say, okay, I see that you need some support. Also, these are facts. When a child is having a problem with school, with learning, what do we normally do? They can go to a school psychologist, they can have a private tutor, they can have extra lessons. All of these, they can have their, I don't know, parents who spend 2 days per weekend, 2 hours per weekend to help them. Usually it involves, again, another adult who is next with them while they are overcoming this difficulty. You see? So this is how usually this situation is resolved. Through another adult who is there to support the child who needs this. For some reason it is needed. Maybe he had high marks and all of a sudden he had a 2 and his self-confidence dropped immediately. So he doesn't trust any longer in his capabilities, in his abilities to perform well. And he needs someone to bring his self-confidence back. Yeah, another adult who is there and who says, I believe. Yes, you couldn't once, but in the long run you can. Maybe this is a very difficult thing. Maybe I was ill, I was distracted at school, so I didn't understand it. Maybe I need someone to explain it again. Okay? This is possible. We explain it again. Maybe I'm lazy and I don't want to deal with very difficult things at the moment. I just want life to be easy. Yeah? Okay, I'm here with you to see whether when we are together you will be more motivated to do it when you are alone. Yeah, in all of these situations we have someone, an adult, who says, okay, I'm here with you. We can do it together. Yeah? In order, clear so far? Yeah? It's very simple. But now I'm going to speak about the complexities. If this is so simple, why it is so difficult to do? Yeah? Do you know why?
Because
No?
we're not always connected to the need itself, or
Maybe getting them talk, really tell the problem sometimes.
Well, the first thing is that this process requires of our time and of our attention. And I don't know what is your life, but my life is very full. Yeah? And sometimes it is so full that another special attention to a math problem seems over the top. Yeah? So this is the point where we okay, we have a situation with learning how to learn with our children, and then we need to see how I can be, the best mom or the most supportive parent that I want to be. And based on this, we need to rearrange our schedules. Yeah? Well, it's not such a big thing, but okay, I know that if I need to discuss things from school, then okay, I need to have 2 empty hours in the evening, so that I can be with my child, so that we can speak about it, so that I can look through the test, so I can see what are the places where he or she is having problems, so that I can ask, what do you think, how we can support you? Do you want me to sit with you when you do it? Do you want to hire a private tutor? Do you want me to speak with the teacher? And so on and so forth. It requires time. Connecting requires time. Yeah? If we want, nurturing relationships between us and our children, it takes time. Nurturing takes time. It's not a quick thing, and we're always in a hurry. Okay, to pick up the school from kids or to deliver it to the school, and we can have some conversations throughout all these quick activities. But if we want to develop deep relationship, we need to slow down. And based on this, we need to rearrange our schedule. Also, sometimes, if we want our children to tell us the truth, they also need such a big thing, but okay, I know that if I need to discuss things from school, then okay, I need to have 2 empty hours in the evening, so that I can believe that it's a quick change. Okay, now please share about your day. Yes, we can ask it, and you say, yeah, it was okay. Yeah, we ask it quick, he answers quick. Okay, done. But this is not like this. We don't switch from doing mode into sharing. It takes some time, this one. So perhaps in the beginning of a conversation about, okay, what happened, why do you have these 2 on the tests? In the beginning you say, oh, I don't know, I don't care. This is what they usually say, because they don't want to go into their emotions. Yeah, this is a protective mechanism. By pretending I don't care, they actually protect themselves, because if I care, I will have to say that I'm disappointed by myself. Or that I'm sad because I believed I knew, and it shows out that I didn't know. Or I'm worried of what you, mom, or you, dad, will tell me. Or maybe I'm discouraged. Yeah, because I put so much effort, and all of a sudden nothing shows out of this effort. In order for them to be able to express these feelings, they need someone who listens. Who's not cooking dinner while asking how was your test. Yeah? So that they can share about it. And by sharing, this is how I started in the beginning, because expressing our feelings is the doorway to finding our needs. If I say, if a child is saying, okay, I'm really disappointed by myself, then we know that the need is to believe that I'm capable of being loved, regardless of whether I'm perfect or sometimes I have tooth. And this is very important. If we discover this in a conversation like this, we know what to do. We don't need to tell him, oh, I'm so disappointed by you. How come? We are doing all these things for you, working, buying you everything, bringing you to concerts, and all of a sudden, your job of performing well at school is at this level. If we do this, it will develop a guilty feeling in them. So they will feel disappointed by themselves and guilty in front of us. And they will feel even less miserable. And when they feel even less miserable, they will have even less access to their power, to their confidence, to their motivation. So we need to say, aha, I understand you're disappointed because you want to believe that regardless of whether you have a 6 or a 2, we still love you. And then we say, oh, yes, we love you anyway. Yeah, let's have it clear. We love you anyway. And in the same time, I want to support you when you find a difficulty to overcome it. But we address what they need.
But may I just mention, I
Of
think
course.
I always use this as an opportunity to actually focus his attention on the fact that every action has a consequence. So if he chose not to prepare over the weekend before the test and then have the test and then have a 2, I think it's my job as a mom when he comes back with a 2 to say, well, that's because you could have put a lot of, more effort studying for the test. I think that's a good thing. I'm not trying to imply guilt, but I'm trying for him to really understand how come that happened. Okay, he could have really chosen to study 2 extra hours rather than just play on the computer.
Well, this is of course an option. The method that I have chosen, that I'm preaching and I'm trying to live as well, is a relationship-based approach to parenting and to teaching also. When I want to have a conversation where relationship is at the core, I will not go with, how do you say, acts and consequences. I will go, okay, how do you feel? Cause and effect, yes. Okay, how do you feel with these 2? Oh, I don't care. Are you sure you don't care? Are you disappointed? Sometimes we need to guide them to admit their feelings, because otherwise they do not. They're already big enough to develop strategies of suppressing their emotions, of hiding their emotions, because emotions are a delicate field. And usually they learn that not everyone is open to hear about my emotions, so I better don't speak much about them. So when you go in this way, okay, I want to hear you. What do you think has happened? When you ask and have an answer from your child, the chances that he comes to the conclusion that you want to communicate is bigger. And you know, we always value more what we have come to discover on our own rather than what someone else is telling. You can even ask him, would you have preferred to spend some more hours preparing for this? And when he says yes, this is something that comes from him. You don't tell him the lesson. You walk with him the path for him to learn.
Realize it by himself.
Yes. And sometimes when you communicate, okay, yes, but this is how it is. When you don't study, you get this. It sounds a little bit like, it doesn't matter how it sounds, but some children perceive it as lack of interest in them, as if we are interested more in what they have learned rather than in who they are. This is a very important. What is it? When you speak one thing but they hear another?
Contradiction.
Yeah, contradiction. Yeah. They can feel it in this way. Yeah. And this is why I do not recommend this cause and effect thing. If I want to guide the child in this direction, I will ask. Yeah.
I like it. It's like a modern twist, because for sure I was raised like this. I think we tend to repeat our family models anyway.
True.
So back in the days, it was preaching and pointing out, but now it's asking. But again, like you said, in the direction that I want him to realize. Thank you. I like that.
And the other thing is same with the teachers. With teaching is the same thing. Sometimes because this is our job. I mean your job, because this is the job to support kids in learning and in having the results they want and what the parents expect. We tend to focus on what the child has learned and how he has showed it, rather than on the child itself. So we need to ask, how are you first? How do you feel with what you have as a mark? And only then go to, okay, what happened? Only then. First we connect, and then we discuss the behavior, then we discuss the results, the tests. First is the connection, and second is
That's a really interesting point. If I may,
of
if the child says, "Oh, I got a 2, I studied hard, but it's math, I don't get math, it was very difficult, I'm really disappointed, I'm worried, I'll do it again," and the child shows really emotions of distress, then what do you say? how do you then show or support and encouragement, although you may yourself be disappointed, oh, another 2 in math, damn. How do you show the child it's okay, or how do you encourage the child?
Well, the first thing is, yes, we are having our emotions while our child is having the emotions. This is true. We try to remember that our emotions are related with our needs and not with the behavior or the results of our children. Yes? Yes, we are disappointed because we want him to have a bigger, greater mark. But this is our need, perhaps, to believe that we are doing well as parents. And my belief, whether I'm a good parent or not, has nothing to do with my child. Yeah, I need to say, okay, what a good parent does. Do I do these things? What are the things I do not do? How I can do this better? So that I can support myself in feeling confident that what I have as capacity to be a parent is actually what I can offer to my child. Yeah? So we need to be clear that, okay, our emotions are triggered by what the child is doing or not, but our needs are our own and they are not related with our children. Yeah? Our needs are, how to say, they are what is important for us, what we value. But values are not related to individuals. Yeah? So our children support us sometimes to realize what are our needs as humans and as parents, but we do not expect that our child fulfills our needs. So this long intro just to say that when we have our emotions, we need to take care of our emotions separately. Prior to the conversation with our child, to deal with our own frustration or our own despair or our own disappointment and so on, so that when we meet our child and we start this conversation, we are there for the emotions of him. Otherwise, in the best scenarios, we are torn between the emotions that I hear and the emotions that I have. If we want our children to be able to express their feelings in front of us, we need to create a space that is open for the emotions of our children. And when we are busy with our own emotions, even if you say, okay, tell me now how you feel, energetically it feels full and not empty. Yeah? And okay, we take it that this is done. Huh? We have enough empathy for ourselves, so we can hear the emotions of our child, and he's saying the things that you mentioned. The first thing is we need to see what is the need. Okay, he's disappointed, he's frustrated, maybe he's discouraged, maybe he's already desperate because he's done so much. We hear all of these things and we need to say, okay, what is the need? Do you need to believe that regardless of the fact that it has been so difficult for you up to now, it could change? We need to bring the hope back. Yeah? And we bring the hope back by creating a space for all of the negative emotions that perhaps are there. And then you ask, do you want this? And you say, yes, I want it. Okay, how we can do this? How we can eat this big elephant? By cutting it into pieces. Okay, let's do the homework for tomorrow. And we are together, yeah? This is what I started. Don't leave kids alone in front of the difficulties that they face. Not yet. Yeah? And another point here is, if really the child has invested so much of his efforts, energy, committed, persevered throughout the effort that was needed, and then he has a 2, and perhaps it is a good moment to say, okay, we have this, in Bulgaria, I don't know for the other countries, but we have this saying that if a student doesn't have a 2 in his career as a student, he hasn't been a student. Yeah, you need to experience it. Oh, great, okay, finally.
Box tick.
Yes, box ticked. So that we don't get so much pressure on performing well. Performing well, performing bad, this is all part of life. Sometimes we are in great shape, sometimes we are not. It's okay. This is how life works on this planet. Sometimes we shine bright, sometimes we are very miserable. Okay, this is how we live. This is what human is. Because we tend to value, the results, the achievements, and we tend to put away the failures or the bad moments. But this is how life is.
Okay, but how we can motivate them to learn? Because my daughter has too many times and she doesn't care.
But
She
this is
really
another
doesn't
point.
care.
If she doesn't care, you need to see how she feels. Is she at peace? Maybe I'm just guessing. So please, whatever I say, check it with your kids. Don't believe me. Only they know whether what I say is possible feelings are true or not. So if you ask, so are you at peace? Are you calm with these results? And then try to see what is the need. You believe that whether you have a 2 or not, it is still okay. You still manage to pass to next grade. You still manage somehow in life. And maybe she'll say yes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, she told me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you show understanding. They say, okay, I understand it. In your opinion, this is how life works. Let me tell you what I think. Usually you ask, okay, I understand your point of view. Are you open to hear mine? And then you say, okay, I understand that the way you see it is it's not a big deal. And that you believe that it is not so important for your future. And at the same time, being your mother or being your teacher or being someone who lived a bit longer than you, I believe that this could play a very negative effect on your future development. Because perhaps you want to go to I don't know which school or university afterwards, and it will be a bad mark or whatever, a black point on your application document. And then you ask, so how do you see it now? Sometimes some children they enjoy the present moment so much. It is so good. Yeah, I have my friends, I have a nice place, I have a good family, it's perfect here. Life is easy, life is nice, it is fully enjoyable. And this future, for which I have to work, don't speak to me about it. I'm here and now, it is okay. So sometimes it's not about changing their relationship to learning, but it is changing their relationship to the future, which will affect their relationship to learning. Not to worry them and say, oh, you know how difficult life is afterwards, not in this sense, but just to invite her to think, okay, I understand that now you believe this is something which is not so important. Can you see my point of view that perhaps in 2 years you could change your opinion? Or what you believe that now is not needed might be needed then? Can you trust a bit more the system which has been created through I don't know how many decades, generations, where it has been proved that we need a broader aspect of life skills? Can you trust me first? Can you trust the system? Yeah? And can you change your relationship to how you see things now with how you see things in the future? Sometimes it is also advisable to share your own experience. Yes, I usually tell this story, which is true. It's not with geography. Even now, okay, you tell me some country. I have difficulties with some countries to locate them well on the map, but it has a very clear explanation because it's cool. In our geography classes, we had a very boring teacher, but really. And I spent most of my geography classes at the benches in the school. This is true story. And this is a joke in our family because my husband, on the other hand, he's very good with geography. Yeah? You can tell him whatever, he knows everything. And when we speak about geography, this is the joke, okay? I ask Dad, because you, Mom, you spend your geography classes at the bench. So you can share your own stories about learning. And yes, it has an effect on me. Yeah? If I have to, pick up this material, I have to go back to, I don't know which grade, 6th grade or when was it? Yeah? So yes, this is what happens. If you miss something when you are at school, you miss it for most of your life. If you don't make an extra effort. Yeah, if you need it, you have to make it. And I'm sure you all have stories about being students.
If it's good, I don't know if that would help you, because I have tried to relate things not to marks, but how it will affect their life really. You know, rather than grade, if you could, something like in maths, my daughter would ask, why do I need to know proportion? She likes cooking. I said, if you don't know proportion, you'll mess up what you have to cook.
Yeah,
So
good point.
I try to relate things to, real life things that they like doing. You like sketching, you like doing writing, you like reading books. So I try to relate it to things that she wants to learn how to drive. I say you need to know science, you need to know how much fuel is there, you need to know how average is, you need to know which fuel is there. So I try to relate the education to what they want to do, which sometimes helps, sometimes it doesn't, but you can always try.
This is a good approach also, when you explain why they will need something which they don't believe they need at the moment.
I mean, why do I need so much of maths or so many other things in maths, right? You have to relate. I mean, what will I do with trigonometry, or what will I do with geometry, when I have to do something in my life when I grow up?
And here is another very important point which I wanted to speak and I forgot in the beginning, is that sometimes we cannot really support the children in establishing a good relationship with math or science or whatever. This is not possible. They don't like it, they will not like it. As soon as they finish school, they will forget it, fine. But what could motivate them to do something which is unbearable or fully boring is the relationship with the teacher, with the parent, or with someone trusted adult. Yeah? Okay, I understand that if it depends on you, you will not learn any math. Okay. I'm with you with this. I understand this is how you see it. In the same time, we are here in this situation where in order to finish school, you need to have at least a 3. So how we can do it? How we can enjoy this, not so enjoyable, but still how we can enjoy what we need to do. And sometimes because of the relationship that they have with the teacher or with someone who supports them in them, okay, they walk this extra mile. Yeah? And here we're in a school where, I've listened to some presentations. It is a popular idea that not everyone should be great at everything. Yeah, so this is good, fine. But okay, you need to learn a bit, at least to pass. Yeah.
Can I ask something? So my situation, he's only in first grade, but we have a weekly battle with the spelling words that we have to write. Because he's come from kindergarten, he loves everything, he's very engineer focused, maths, measure, okay. But writing these 8 spelling words is a full evening of discussion, and I'm sitting with him, we'll do it together. And at one point, it's not we'll do it together, it's Mummy, will you just write it? You're an English teacher, you're very, please Mummy, just write this one. And then we start this negotiation starts, then you see like, okay, I'll write one and you write one, or I'll hold your hand. And so I'm fully there with him, like I'm supporting him, I'm not pushing for the mark. Yes, he gets 2 out of 8 correct,
So
fine.
you practice negotiation skills.
But the negotiations is what, and then my cup is getting too full of this negotiating, and finally I said, fine, we're not going to do it today, you will get 0 in the test, and let's have dinner and watch some television, yeah, because I'm tired. And
Okay.
yeah, and he gets what he wants.
But and do you understand you right that he's not cooperating to what you want?
No, exactly, yeah. So I said, come on, we'll do it together. We sit down,
Yes.
I get the
And
pencil.
what does he say?
He stands up and feeds the fish. Then, come on, Ali, let's do it. Yeah, okay, the fish, yeah, some died already, but okay, he's feeding the fish. Oh, I just need to get a glass of water. Actually, I'm hungry, and this all the time is taking all my okay, still we sit. Okay, let's write the first word. Oh, this word is so long. Oh, I don't like this word. I'll write the next word. Yeah.
Naomi, I think that you need empathy in this particular situation because you've done all the things right.
Okay.
Then some emotions are left unseen. I imagine that if you ask him, so are you bored with this?
Okay.
He'll say yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
But then you establish an emotional connection with him.
Okay.
He says, okay, mom is not so interested in my writing this letter, this words, but she's interested in me.
Yeah. My goal is for him to finish the words,
Yeah.
for sure. Just to finish them
Yeah.
and be done.
So
by
you
the
need
end
to
of it.
change. Okay,
Okay.
let me understand you. Are you bored? Do you want me? Perhaps he wants you to.
He finds it difficult. Like,
does.
for sure, yeah.
This is the five times word thing.
Yeah. I think he finds it difficult. Writing isn't his favorite thing, and he doesn't see the purpose.
Well, so what you do is you ask him this question. If you are right, you just need to confirm it with him.
Okay.
Do I understand it's right that you find this difficult? Do I understand it's right that you see no point in this? So that he says yes, 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 and then? What happens is that he feels seen within the difficulty that he has. This creates a new relationship between you and him. You show him some empathy by saying, oh, I understand how difficult it is for you. Yeah, I can imagine. When I was first grader, it has been a dreadful thing for me as well. Somehow we need to make it.
And then
Are you ready
he'll
now?
say, so shall we do it tomorrow?
If you, well, sometimes we give empathy, and empathy requires some time before the child starts to do what he realized he should. Sometimes these are two different phases. But if this is Sunday evening, you cannot do it. Okay, let's postpone. But if you do it on Saturday, you can say, okay, we can do it tomorrow. Please, can you do it tomorrow alone?
Or maybe let's do one half today,
Yeah, of
3
course.
words today and 2 words tomorrow. Whatever.
But this is already again the negotiation.
Yeah,
And
we do a lot of this. We do a lot.
Before-
Okay, tomorrow we'll write it twice then. And
So before the negotiation, you start with empathy.
okay.
So maybe he is bored, maybe he finds it difficult, maybe also he is frustrated with the difficulty that I need to put. Because sometimes, okay, it is difficult, but while it's so difficult for me, I get frustrated, I get angry. Yeah, because I want life to be easy.
Yeah.
And I cannot put up with the idea that life sometimes is difficult. This is another point. Which is, okay, yes, sometimes life is difficult.
Maybe speak with him again. What's the purpose in writing words? To connect to, as you said, what his interests are, how he can be used to life.
And the other thing, when he does this to you, can you do it for me? You have to use what I said earlier. Can you do it for me? Because I believe this is important. Are you willing to trust me and do it because I believe it is important? Sometimes we cannot convince them that this is important. If they believe it has no point, they have the right to believe it has no point. But you say, okay, I'm at peace that you don't see a point at all. I see 100% value. Can you please trust me and do it? I'm your mom. I want the best for you. I believe this is good. Can you do it? Yeah? And maybe, I don't know, but perhaps you need, if this is an issue already, we almost by the end of the year, so I guess it has become a hot potato.
Yeah.
Maybe you need an extra talk with him, not when you start to doing it, but for example on the way home you say, you know what, I think that we need to change a little bit the things we write our homeworks. Just to inform him that there will be a change, to be prepared. Yeah? So otherwise it becomes too many things. Yeah? The empathy, what is the purpose of it, doing it for my mom, it can become
Overwhelming.
So you just prepare him. I think little by little we need to change this. Little by little I want you to be more independent with this. I want to be less involved with these words every Friday. And so, yeah.
And would it work when the child sits down and does his homework and you then give praise or somehow some sort of motivational speech or reward saying, oh excellent, I'm so proud, I'm so happy, whatever, something that gives the carrot after the effort has been
Understand.
done.
Well, in nonviolent communication, in empathy, we don't work with praise or praise or criticism, yeah, or reward, yes. And why? Why? Because we want children to be in good relationship with their inner motivation, not with the outer motivation. So if I want to express something, it will not be, oh, I'm so, it's better to express how you feel. For example, oh, I'm so impressed that you managed this on your own. Or if you're so relieved that this Sunday you did it on your own. I see how you develop, I see how you grow. Thank you for, by doing this on your own, I had some time on my own. So we express how we feel and what are our needs instead of labeling, oh, good boy, great job. Yeah? Because otherwise in this, I do it because I get something. I get something from the outside. I do it because I support my self-confidence, and I do it for myself. It's not because I expect something to get something from the outside. I do it because it feels good to own my power, to own my ability, to own my integrity. When I promise something, I do it. I own my integrity. And this builds up the self-confidence and, feeling well in my own skin. And also, even it produces some hormone, the hormone of happiness. One of the hormones of happiness comes from doing something difficult and achieving it. And then it feels good. I don't remember the name of the hormone, but so this is also, supporting their happiness in the long run, not just learning some skills.
Which can also be achieved, like you write it, I give you an ice cream, easier for me.
I don't say don't do it at all, never, but be mindful. When you do it, also be mindful that the idea is not that the child is doing some things because of the reward that he or she gets. It has to be, the inner motivation is much more important. I mean, even later in life, it will be never enough. The outside motivation will never be enough. So if I feel well. So, to balance it. If you want to use it, at least to balance it.
Do you think teenage children get into this fixed mindset of, I'm never going to be able to do it, so this is just how it's going to be? Like now, if we go to the other end, like 15, 16, 17-year-olds, we see them, they're doing their exams, and part of me as a sort of teacher, but let's say a mum to those kids, I say, come on, if you just work a little bit more, you will get the result. Like encourage, but still they don't want to, or they appear not to want to, but like maybe
when this is the case, we go back to empathy. You need to see how they feel. Are you satisfied with these results? Did it cost you too much effort to achieve those, so you don't want to work even harder? Because when they can be honest about how they feel, and when they come to be aware of their needs, okay, my need is, for example, to persevere. Yeah, I believe I can more. I want to achieve it. By being connected to what I value, it gives me the power to do it much more than a motivational speech from whoever. So sometimes the emotions that children carry within and do not express actually take the energy they need in order to make efforts in learning. Yeah? When I have to suppress a big deal of my emotions, I have less energy to learn than if I haven't. So creating this, and Miss Ellie, I think you're doing a great job in this, creating these containers for the emotion of the children, so that, okay, when they free their emotions with you, they can go and learn. This is perfect. Somewhere, they need this space, especially when the hormone starts to rush through the body and the emotional expression is so terrible. Other parents say this is when it is even more needed. Yeah, the more emotions they carry within, the more space they need for these emotions to be shared. Yeah, or liberated. Yeah. Or at least to be, because emotions, they are always messengers from the needs. When children are having strong emotions, they have some very important needs to become conscious. So we need to support them at this. We cannot expect them to do it on their own.
Maybe one more point linked to that, because and you mentioned it earlier in different ways. I think it's extremely important, and that's something that BSS does really well, teaching the growth mindset, no fixed mindset. We are growing systems. We learn as long as we live. And when you tell a child and you say, you know, that's what I tell my child, as you said, number one, we cannot be good at everything. It's fine that you maybe not as good in this as you are in that. Number two, everybody has a bad day. Maybe today was your bad day, tomorrow will be better. And number three, if last year or last month you were not so good at this, you still can learn. You might not become Einstein in math, but you can still become better than who you were last month. And I think that is something, if we keep telling the children, I believe you can be better than who you were last month, without saying, I don't expect you to become a math genius, for example, or I don't expect you to become a professor of something that you don't feel confident with, it still gives the child the sense of, yes, I can do it. I don't need to become a genius, I don't have this pressure, but mom, dad believes that I can, so, or the teacher believes that I can, maybe even better, and that gives them an extra push. Even if it is this big of a push, it's better than, oh, I'll never be good at this, so I resign.
Yeah, the growth mindset is really, really important. Yeah, they need to see things in perspective. Yeah. Because we are coming close to the meeting, and I promised some quick feedback. So I would ask you now, and perhaps my time, Dennis, it was perfect. I get enough ideas about this, yes. And I want more in the future. It's about meetings like this in the future. Yeah, because it has been a test program for this year, so some feedback is needed, and we didn't do it with the previous meeting, so we start this one, and the next ones we're gonna have this quick feedback. So just make a star, a dot, whatever, a smile, wherever it feels.
Can I just ask you
Yeah.
one last question, please?
Yeah.
About starting. Okay, so with us, he does great, he's focused and concentrate when he's starting.
Yeah.
But getting him to start, especially over the weekend, because I think from his perspective, he's like, it's a downtime. So it's like, please don't bother me. I'm like in the whole week at school. So how do I help him with this empathy approach to help him actually realize that earlier than later is a better start, because then he'll have freer time. He's more focused in the morning anyway. So maybe have breakfast, do some sports.
But
and then
I guess you have tried this, trivial things like, okay, but once you do it, it's done, or finish it and forget it. It doesn't work.
No, again, this is the consequences thing I'm telling you. He chooses to do that, and sometimes we end up Sunday afternoon doing things when actually I'd rather have and I think he would rather have Sunday afternoon off as well.
Well, here I would suggest what I said to Naomi. You invite your son to a glass of whatever, hot chocolate, with the honey. We are changing things with the homework.
Okay.
Yeah, let's find a way that works for you and works for me. But Sunday evening definitely does not work for me.
Okay.
So can you find another way? And you involve him in the process of finding the solution. I see it's not the best thing for you during the weekend. I agree. But let's find a time which is good for you and good for me. So then he participates in this, and then you show some understanding to him by saying, okay, you can decide how to do it, and he shows some empathy to you by saying, okay, it's not Sunday evening, which is the best way. And when you agree to something, you try to stick to it. When it is not happening, please use it as a moment for deeper connection. When children promise something and they do it, please don't go with the, oh, how come, huh? How come you promise something and you don't do it? Yeah, you go, what happened? I thought that when you promise something, this will happen, so I'm a bit confused. What happened? You show curiosity rather than blame. Because this is the same thing. If I promise something and I haven't done it, then for some reason I couldn't do it. Grown-up kids, they know how things work. They know we'll be happier if they do what they promise. So if they haven't, this means that it has been, for some reason, it has been impossible.
Is it also okay to have them learn from their own actions, and when you know they're not going to do well, because you're seeing that there's something not going right? So, like my daughter, they had a science paper, and she started, and I know there are certain topics that she needs revision extra, and told her, I said, why don't you revise it, and then I'll help you revise it. I'll ask you how it's done. She said, no, I'm done. And she just closed the door that, I don't want to revise anymore. I've studied for 2 hours. I'm done. I don't want to do it. I knew she's going to do something wrong, and she didn't get super good marks. So when she told me yesterday, I'm very disappointed with the science paper, I got a 4. I said, well, I had a feeling. Yeah, she was frustrated with a 4. I did have a feeling. So I had a feeling that that you're not going to get the best of grades that you were expecting yourself to get. So is it okay for them to learn this way? Because I knew she will not, because the way she was closed. So how do you deal with this? And maybe I did an emotional disaster when I said I knew you were going to get a 4.
No, it's not a disaster. But when children are sharing their feelings, I believe this is always good. They believe that in a relationship between them and us, there is space for it. But when they express an emotion, usually they need help to digest this emotion or to get the message from this emotion. As I told you, emotions are messengers. They come with a message. And when a child is sharing the feeling and cannot communicate or express the need, they do it so that we can help them. So when she says, I'm disappointed, you ask, you're disappointed because you wanted to have a higher mark. And then she says yes. And then you continue. You want it, regardless of the fact that you spent only 15 minutes on revision, you could have relied more on what you remembered throughout the month. And she says, yes, this is what I want. And then you ask some more questions, of course, based on what you want to explore. And you say, you know what, sometimes it happens with 15 minutes, sometimes it doesn't. No preaching. Yeah. Okay, it's a good, so this stays with her. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Most of the time it doesn't, so...
I think we resist the temptation to say that.
Yeah? Sometimes you can leave it there. Yeah, you leave it and to marinate, yeah? To become better.
Yeah, maybe for next time.
Sorry?
She'll get that. Maybe for next time she gets that lesson.
Yeah. But when they express an emotion, be there, be the one to say, okay, let's hear what is the need behind this emotion. And when it comes from them, I told it already half an hour ago.
Very late in the night yesterday, I came back home late from work, and she was just about to sleep sometimes. So she was very upset. I said, why do you look so upset? What happened? So sitting before bedtime, I didn't do as well as I was expected to.
But always remember 2 things. When they are too upset, it might have an effect on their self-esteem. Yeah? So not always, but if I feel so miserable after something, then maybe I start to think that I'm not as good as I want. So this is where I need to intervene and say, yeah, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. There is another test to encourage them. When they are, too happy with a tree, it's the other opposite. We need to say, okay, I see that you are happy and content, and I wonder how you can do better. So sometimes we inspire them to be less critical on themselves. Sometimes we need to inspire them to be more critical on themselves. And I think what you shared is great. Over the years, she trusted the new teacher. And it supported her in both ways, not only in math, but also in trusting more the adults that I knew. So it's a double victory.